know. This meeting is being, yeah, I got a note saying this meeting is being recorded, and I hit continue. All right, cool.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, so feel free during this meeting to jump in anytime when I'm struggling.
I mean, I don't know. I saw the agenda. It seems pretty good, and
Cool.
a big chunk of time is for the officer reports and the our guests. So
Right.
that should be good. I don't know everybody. You probably know everybody in the neighborhood. Do you know? I don't know this person. Do you know this person?
No, I don't. I don't think so.
I can kick anybody out if they cause problems. Let's see. Oh yeah, and I have to remember to make Natia the co-host, or I guess the host actually. I'll make her the host.
Oh my God.
You might be able to shut it off. I don't know if it's giving you a lot of light.
I don't know either.
I think it's okay.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool, thanks.
Did you see people buy those fancy lights? It's like a circle,
Yeah.
And it goes behind your camera. One of my friends was laughing at her husband because he bought one of those, and she was sort of tormenting him.
Right. Kim, hey, that is Lance and Kim. How you doing, Lance? How you doing, Kim? Good. Well, I'll say, Lance, man, thank you for delivering the newsletter. All right. All right, Tia.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Tia. I'm going to make you the co-host, okay?
Okay.
And then if you need to assert any authority, you could do that.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay, there you go.
So how's everybody doing these days? Staying safe out there?
Yeah, we are. We are.
All right. All right.
How was your day today?
Well, hey, it's Officer Maribel. My day was like, well, this is our first meeting, so I was like running around like a chicken with the head cut off kind of thing, and all stressed out. But other than that,
Made it.
Yeah, made it. Well, let's see. I'll tell you at 8:30 if I made it or not. Officer Maribel, looks like you got you're on a computer nowadays, or is that your phone again? You're on mute, man.
Yeah, I was able to make it into the office.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
All right.
Yeah, I actually have you down, Mr. Maribel, for 7:30, but we'll get in earlier, so not to waste your time.
Okay.
Sweet.
Just let me know when you're ready.
All right. All right. I guess I'll do the introductions and yeah, go from there. Now I'll bring you in.
Mhm.
Say, Tia and Marie, do you see any issues with bringing Officer Maribel in after I just open the meeting, just so to get him out, so he's not hanging around?
I don't think so, right? Because our speakers aren't until after a couple announcements anyway. So
Cool.
maybe as long as it doesn't interfere with their timing.
Right. Cool. He was already set to go before them.
Yeah. So
How you doing, Kyle? Still waiting for a couple more minutes. I'm sure have a couple more people show up.
Oh, you're doing me?
Yeah. Mhm.
Did all the neighbors? Did you all get a copy of the newsletter delivered to your house?
Yes, we
Yep.
did.
All right, sweet. Can hear you, Kyle.
I like the format. Very, very nice format. Information was easy to read,
Sweet.
flowed nicely, I thought. Very pertinent information. I like the look of it and the feel of it.
All right, thank you very much. That was our that was Tracy. That's Paul Grant's wife, Tracy. She took over the newsletter and did the format.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it as well. Also like that I'm not doing it. You know, 'cause it was in years past it was Jacqueline doing it, and I think Jimmy himself was doing it also. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm lucky enough to have somebody to do it for us. Yeah, because it's a heavy load doing the newsletter every month. It's
Yeah.
from what I'm told, it's a heavy load. For me, just coming up my little piece, the President's Corner, you know, that was tough enough. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll wait a couple more minutes before we get started. Can I ask who's on the phone for the last three is 833?
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Okay, hey Stan, you said that's my number. This is Tony.
Who is it again, please?
Tony Reed.
All right, Tony. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to change up on the screen so we know who you are. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Tony Reed.
Did I spell it correctly?
We got a R-E-E-D.
REEVVES.
VES. Okay, let me change it. Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, time is 7:04. Wait, one more minute, couple more seconds.
Oh, what you doing? Are you allowing the 5 minutes grace period, 10 minutes?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, yes. We have about, let's see. We have.
They announced 14.
I'm sorry?
There was announced 14 people had joined the call.
There you go. That's about right. Yeah, I was trying to do the math here. I was trying to do my multiplication.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Kyle, do you think it's cool to start? All right, cool.
Good evening, Stan. Jacqueline's joining.
Hey, Jacqueline, how you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Doing well. All right. So
Good.
that's Jacqueline at the 588. We're changing the name so we know who you are on the screen here. Well, okay, it's 7:05. I'd like to welcome you all to our first meeting of the year in 2021. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for attending. I guess first I want to start off with some sad news. We had a couple of neighbors pass away over the holidays. First was on my notes right here. First was Mr. Dorsey. That was on December 30th. It was unexpected, not COVID related, and yeah, just a huge surprise. If you didn't know Mr. Dorsey, he had this tradition of knocking on everybody's doors on New Year's morning, just to welcome in the New Year's. That was yeah, it was a great tradition. You know, it was surprising when he first did it because he's knocking on the door at 10 o'clock New Year's morning. We're all kind of like night party, but it was cool. Another great thing he did was another great thing he did. He had this like industrial like a snowblower. He would clean up our sidewalks for the whole block during the heavy storms. That was always appreciated. All right, the second person that we have passed away, that was Bobby Chandler. He's my neighbor across the street. I consider him a friend. He was dealing with cancer for quite some time, and he passed away on January 5th. This also, I knew he was dealing with cancer, but this surprised me because I was just talking to him the week before, sitting with them and joking around, and then cancer just got him. So our hearts go out to Bobby and Mr. Dorsey. And in today's meeting, we're going to have panelists talk about health and wellness during COVID-19. That should be interesting. And we're also going to vote on our new logo. We have a new name operating under new bylaws, and we need a new logo to go with that new name. And so Paul Grant, he was kind enough to draw up three possibilities for us, and we will just do a show of hands later on to see which one you guys like, which ones we would go for. Okay. Yes, sir. I see we have Officer Maribel. He is on the line, or at least he was on the line. Where is he? He's running back to his computer. And so just so I won't have them holding around spending his time, I would like to have Officer Maribel give his officer report or crime report. How you doing, Officer?
Hello, Penn Branch community.
Hello.
Okay, the crimes for the last 30 days, we had 37 crimes in patrol service area 605. In the Penn Branch community, we had 3 crimes in the last 30 days. In the last 30 days, we had a theft at the CVS. That was on December the 31st at 1:12 p.m. where beef jerky was stolen. At the 7-Eleven at Penn Branch Shopping Center on January the 6th at 3:27 p.m. there was a theft where the person took sunflower seeds, Cheez-Its, and Oreo cookies. And we had a burglary at Penn Branch Shopping Center at the liquor store on January the 3rd, 15 minutes after midnight. And they took, it was 3 guys, they took assorted liquor and wine. So those were the 3 crimes in the Penn Branch community in the last 30 days. We also, as you all know, we're under full activation. And through the January the 24th. Now that can continue on for a later date, but right now it's up until the 24th. So we are keeping an eye in the 6th district. We're keeping an eye on the critical infrastructures such as Pepco on Benning Road, also the Anacostia pumping station located at number 19 Anacostia Avenue. So that's what's going on so far. If anyone needs more information as far as dealing with downtown and dealing with the traffic, they have in place the website, which is inauguration.dc.gov, inauguration.dc.gov. And that will give you anything dealing with traffic patterns and things that's going on downtown that the mayor has put out. That's it that I have so far. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Officer Maribel? Wow.
Yes, hello?
Yes, go ahead. We hear you.
Yes, I have a question for the officer. This is Tony Reeves. My question is, seemed like for the last few meetings, there's been theft and so forth at the shopping center. Anything that you all suggest to deter crime there, going forward?
Yes, what we're doing is they're probably over the holiday weekends. We did have extra help, but our help left us, which were the recruits from the academy. So they went back to the academy because they still have training they have to do before they come out on the streets in the next 2 months. So in the process, in the meanwhile, right now, most of our manpower is downtown. So we're on a minimal staffing right now as far as patrol in the neighborhoods. So the officers right now, while they're not on assignment, will be keeping an eye on those locations until we can get our manpower back. There is an action plan going on right now with the lieutenants. They're putting together an action plan for Penn Branch Shopping Center where there will be more patrols up there. And we are looking at, far as a footbeat officer to during the business hours to help curtail that thefts that's going on up there.
Okay, that sounds good. And you said the time frame to recruit those, the patrol there, you said after the inauguration, or what did you, could you repeat that, please?
Yes, what it is, we're after the inauguration, we'll be back up to full strength in the patrol section. Most of our manpower is on civil disturbance unit, which they'll deploy downtown on standby. So we won't be back to full staffing in the patrol section until after the 24th.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Well, all right. Well, hey, thank you, Officer Maribel, and please be safe out there.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank
Crazy
you.
times.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next. Okay, we have along with our new name, new bylaws, whatnot, new logo. We also have new procedures for our meeting, and that would be Natia. Natia would like to discuss that or talk about that. There she is. I'm sorry.
So hi, everyone. I'm the new parliamentarian, and just to keep our meetings orderly and to be respectful of everyone's time, I just wanted to go over a few procedures. So one, I want to ask that people mute their devices when they're not speaking to minimize background noise. Additionally, if you want to ask questions during a meeting, especially on a popular topic, I'm asking that you use the raise your hand feature. And you can access that feature by clicking on the participants tab at the bottom or the center of your screen. And I will call on people in the order that I see those hands. We're also asking that you identify yourself, especially if you're calling in from a phone, so that I can change your number to your actual name so we can see who the participants are in the meeting. Additionally, all voting during Zoom meetings will take place using the Zoom polling feature. And if we can't get that polling feature to work, we will use the chat function. Our meetings will generally follow Robert's Rules of Order. So if you can, familiarize yourself with those rules that pertain to meetings, such as making a motion, voting on a motion. And last but not least, please limit your comments to 2 to 3 minutes. We really want to be respectful of everyone's time and limit our meetings to the 90 minutes that we're scheduled for. So does anyone have any questions? Concerns?
Hey, Natia, I don't have any questions, but the razor on my computer, the raise your hand function is under reactions.
It's under, what is it under?
I'm on a Mac, and it's under reactions.
Okay, so if you're on a Mac, I guess it's under reactions.
Yeah, there's my hand.
Hey. Can you raise your hand, Stan, so I can see what it looks like on my computer? Oh, I see it. Okay, yep, I see it. Great.
Now I want to lower it. All right.
Does that make sense for everyone? Yes,
Yeah.
thumbs up.
Try run. Everybody raise their hand.
All right, thank you. I look forward to being your parliamentarian.
Great. Thank you, Natia.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, my question, this is Tony Reeves. I'm not in front of a computer, so I can't raise my hand by phone. So what is the option to ask a question by phone?
Do you have chat capability on the phone?
No, this is just a regular cordless phone. I mean, you can.
Well, if you don't have that function, then you can just say, I have a question.
Hi, baby girl.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Right. Anybody else? All right. Cool. I gotta tell you now, this holding a Zoom conference, man, it's so dead. You can't get much feedback out of this thing. But anyway, I'm sorry. Okay, next we have the reading of the minutes by Marie.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? I had some problems with my system before.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Hey, everybody. I'm Marie Fritz. I'm the new secretary. I'm going to go through the minutes from the last meeting where Kyle took the minutes. Last meeting of 2020 was held on December 8th. Ms. Cannon provided a few updates to the members. The Marshall Heights Community Development Organization and Ward 7 Business Partnership was awarded the Penn Ave East Main Street grant. The board held a very successful retreat in December with outgoing officers, incoming officers, and previous officers to help the new board prepare. 2 of our young neighbors joined the meeting, Amiri Nash, DC's Youth Poet Laureate and a college student. He's also a college student, shared a holiday poem. And Megan Jones, who's a violinist and a high school student, played 2 holiday-themed pieces. Ms. Cannon highlighted the accomplishments of the outgoing board, including the development of the Pennsylvania Ave East Community Coalition, which secured A pretty significant sum from the city, $450,000, to create a new Main Street program and a new small area plan. They updated the association's name to the Penn Branch Community Association, updated the governing documents, including the bylaws, articles of incorporation, and policy documents, and hosted a number of guests and sponsored an education forum. Officer Marable provided the crime report. The treasurer reported the balance, which was $2,848.30. And the new Penn Branch Community Association officers were sworn in by Commissioner D.L. Humphrey, one of our ANCs. Ms. Cannon and some others provided concluding remarks. Ms. Letitia Atkins, the new executive director of the Pennsylvania Main Street, introduced herself and shared her contact information. Stan Benton, our association's new president, thanked the members for their confidence in him and said that he looks forward to working with everyone. And finally, a number of members provided concluding remarks, thanking the outgoing board members for their dedication during a difficult year, encouraging neighbors to invest in one another in our community, welcoming new neighbors, and wishing everyone a happy holiday. And so I think that pretty much covers it. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as read? Or questions, I guess I should say even before.
I move we adopt the minutes as read.
Second.
The motion has been moved and properly seconded.
All right, thanks everybody.
All right, thank you. Okay, next up we have Kyle. The association, we put out a statement about the attempted coup up there on the Capitol. Kyle actually drafted up the statement for us, and he's going to, I believe, read the statement, and then he's going to talk about the proposed upcoming meeting topics for us in 2021. Go ahead, Kyle.
Thanks, Dan. Good evening, everyone. I think the majority of tonight's meeting is going to go to a panel of experts who are going to talk to us about maintaining both physical and mental well-being during this really difficult time. And I think on top of COVID now, we've had to deal with another very serious kind of disturbance to our community and to the values that I think all of us hold dear. And so I think that conversation is something that hopefully will be very beneficial to all of us. I'm looking forward to it. So I won't take up much time. As Stan mentioned, the board members, when we saw what happened last Wednesday, we spoke by email and felt like it was important to put out a statement on behalf of the board quickly that condemned what happened at the Capitol and noted that our first concern is for our community members and for all Washingtonians. And we were thinking and sending positive thoughts to our community members and prayers to folks around the city for their safety. We noted as well that though these things happened very close to our community, what they reflect couldn't be further from the values that as I mentioned, we all hold. We said that we saw what happened as a predictable outcome of years of escalation and anti-democratic efforts by our national leaders and their supporters. And we thought that the unacceptable incitement that preceded it and the inadequate response were all things that were fueled by longstanding injustices in our country. We specifically called out the really troubling role that systemic racism plays in undermining our democracy, and noting that we feel as though it must be fully dismantled if our country is to live up to its founding ideals and to really thrive. And finally, the statement, which I'm sending out in the chat, a link to where you can find the full statement on our website. We expressed our desire as an organization to work with all of you and to work with similar community associations around the city and nationwide, really, to try to do the work of improving our democracy, because we feel like civil society organizations like ours have an important role to play in this by modeling the kinds of behaviors that we want to see and to find the best ways to improve the way that we communicate with each other and the ways that we fight to ensure that historic injustices are overturned and opportunities are created, and that we avoid these sorts of things in the future. So we called on the other community associations in the city and beyond to join us in making this pledge to do their part to take on this generational work that we need to pick up and move forward, as so many before us have. So I'll pause for just a moment there in case anybody has any questions or comments or reflections that they would like to raise about the things that we've seen over the last week and before, and then I'll move on to the next topic. So I'll pause for just a moment.
I don't see any hands.
Okay, thanks, Natia. So moving on to the next topic, which builds on that, and it's how we as the new board of directors feel like we can best do the kinds of things that I just described and move forward.
Excuse me, Kyle.
Appoint, yes, Jacqueline?
Hello, I'm sorry. I was trying to unmute myself. Just to make a comment, I wanted to commend you and the board members for taking such swift action and response and putting out the statement in regards to last Wednesday's mayhem at the Capitol. I think it's critical that we all make a stand or take a stand to, as you said, help defend our democracy in whatever way we can at the local level, at the national level, or otherwise. So I really appreciated that, and I meant to send you a email response as such as well. So thank you, and the whole team.
Thanks, Jacqueline. I appreciate that. I think one other note, this was an extraordinary action, and obviously we don't see it as our role as a board to be commenting on general current events, and certainly not to be wading into partisan political matters along Democratic and Republican lines as a 501c3. But for us, this was a moment that was different from all those, and it was worthy of speaking out about the fundamental components of our democracy. And so we saw this as an extraordinary action, and we hope that most of you feel as though it speaks to your feelings as well. And we're happy to continue that discussion and hear reflections going forward. As I was saying, as a new board coming in, we wanted to make sure that we were setting a proactive agenda for the year ahead, and also one that's responsive to what we have heard from all of you about what you're interested in having us work on. So as you hopefully saw in the newsletter, we put in the top 5 or so issues that we received feedback on over the surveys that we've done over the last year or so. And drawing on those survey responses, we wanted to propose topics for the next 5 months of meetings that we'll have that will take us to the summer break, and invite feedback. We're happy to take feedback this evening in the chat box, or if people have questions, but also in the week or so following this meeting, if you are interested in sharing additional ideas or feedback about what we propose, then please don't hesitate to send us an email at info@pennbranchdc.org, or stop us if you see us out walking, or let us know one way or the other your feedback. The topics that we propose holding meetings on over the next 5 months are some of the things that came up in your feedback. So what we're thinking is that we would like to have a meeting that focuses on the resources that we have in our community, the parks that we have, including our 9/11 Memorial Park, the park down at the bottom of the hill, the Pope Branch Park, but also our National Park Service land that is around our neighborhood. We'd like to talk about people's visions for those things, how we can ensure that we are maintaining our community assets, but also leveraging city and national resources to improve those. So that's one topic we'd like to hold. We know that the overwhelming majority of folks are interested in more information and providing feedback on what's happening at the shops at Penn Branch and with commercial development along the Pennsylvania Avenue corridor. We think there's a lot to cover on those, including an update on the shopping center, the Main Street organization, the small area plan. And so we propose holding 2 meetings, probably back to back, but perhaps separated by a month, to focus on those issues, because we know that there will be a lot of discussion, and we think that there are a number of people that it might be beneficial for us to be able to speak with. Then we would also like to hold a meeting that combines one popular past subject, which is elder services and senior citizen services, and also introduce a new component for the second half of that meeting to look at youth and family services, because we have a number of young families in the community that have expressed a lot of interest in more services targeted toward them and more activities. So we'd like to do that. And then finally, we'd like to host a meeting that would look at neighborhood infrastructure and transportation issues. And so this could cover everything from traffic calming to other components of the traffic flow through the neighborhood, as well as perhaps the O Street wall and some of the other things that people have expressed interest in that we'd like to make sure that we have all the information on and then can present to the community. So again, in summary, the topics that we're proposing for the next 5 months, we will determine the order once we have talked about it a bit more as a board, but they would be parks and recreation issues in our community, 2 sessions on Pennsylvania Avenue development, 1 on elder services and young family services, and then 1 on neighborhood infrastructure. So I'll stop there in case any of the other board members want to add anything, or if there are any questions or comments.
I don't see any hands. Are there any questions from the people on the phone?
No.
Okay.
Right, then that covers it. Please, if you have ideas or you think of things after the fact that you want to speak with the board about ideas or ways that we can make sure that these meetings meet your needs and your interests, please don't hesitate. We really want to ensure that we are scheduling meetings and holding discussions, and if needed, inviting guest speakers that you all want to hear from. So thank you very much, and Stan, back to you.
Great. Thank you, Kyle. Next we have up, actually,
I couldn't find my hand up. I just had a quick question.
Go ahead, Ms. Paul.
Could you add one topic so you can talk about, you did an excellent article in the newsletter about your committees. If somehow you're not getting people to commit to those committees, perhaps it would be best to at least have a 45-minute session where you talk about what the purpose, function of each of those committees are, because they're going to help you to deliver on the other topics at some point. Okay, just a suggestion.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion, and we will discuss it as a board and figure out how we can make sure that we get that in there. I think we spoke a lot about wanting to get the committees up and running as quickly as possible and with clear mandates. And so I think that comports really well with the things that we've discussed. So thanks for that suggestion, Ms. Paul.
Great. Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Paul. I see 2 of our panelists online, but I'm not seeing. Is Lisa Fitzpatrick? Is she online? Okay. Well, if not, I'm going to stretch it out a little more and talk about the. I'm gonna skip ahead to. How about is Mo Williams on the line? I'm not seeing him either. All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna do this treasury report. We have the nothing changed from last month, and so we still have in our account $2,848 and I believe 30 cents. So that's $2,848.30. Here's our treasury report. And for block captains, I am happy to report that we have a couple of new block captains. We have hang on, let me find my place here. We have Chris Morgan. He took over Paul's old spot, Paul Grant's old spot, for the 1400 block at 34th Street. And we have Stephanie Clyburn. She is doing the west side of 3500 block at Texas. That was Roy Ward's old spot. So thank you to those two for taking that on. So Janata, she's stepping down. She was a Black Catherine for over 20 years, and she's said she's had enough. So that's why she's stepping down, and Stephanie's taking her spot. Okay, I thought I could burn a little more time with those, but evidently not. Next we have the guest speakers, and we'll have let's see, let me find her. Yeah, we'll have. I am stressing. Cicely. Cicely will be moderating the guest speaker spot. Cicely.
Yes, so tonight we're pleased to present to the community a session entitled Health and Wellness During COVID-19, Healthy Tips for Surviving and Thriving in the New Normal. So first we'll hear from Dr. Jalan Burton.
Jalan.
Hey y'all, hi neighbors. Thank you guys so much for having me to speak about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart, kids' health. I've got my assistant with me today. We will see how long she lasts without making too much noise. But I'm a pediatrician, and part of the reason why I started my practice 2 years ago was because I didn't see the high quality options in our community that many other communities in Washington, D.C. have. We have a lot of clinics that I found a lot of the neighbors don't really want to go to. And so I just wanted to offer different services in the community. So what I'm seeing in the community right now. So what I'm seeing in the community, number one, is that parents are really, really stressed. Parents are having to be pulled in so many different directions, and parents, number one, their mental health. So I've been screening everybody for anxiety and depression, all of the parents, and the numbers have been through the roof amongst parents. So I want to remind everyone that children are very, very, very resilient. The things that we as adults can't manage sometimes, kids can manage very, very well. And so please don't minimize, I would say, the adaptability that children have and the innate sense of strength that they have as well. So really look to young people to give you some of the answers during this time. So what does it take to have a healthy child? I don't have much to say about that other than like take it back to the basics. So play and activity are number one for well-being for children during good times, during bad times. Children should spend time outside every single day, even in the winter. I know some of our neighbors don't want to go outside when it's cold, but it's really important for children to be outside even when it's cold. So take them, let them run around the neighborhood. We have a neighborhood that has a lot of open streets, a lot of open green space. Let the children play in the green space. I think it's very important. We are seeing increased obesity in children, and part of that is because of the snacking that many children are doing all day long. So back to what makes a healthy child, good food and lots of water is also important. So I wanted to talk a little bit about things that I'm seeing in the community. I'm getting a lot of questions from parents about, they'll say, my kid wants to snack all day. I'm sure as adults, we all want to snack all day as well, but we know that that's not healthy. So I think it's really good to put kids on a schedule, right? You get up in the morning, you eat breakfast around 10:30-ish, give them a good healthy snack. In our house, a snack always consists of something fresh, like a piece of fruit that they have to eat first, and then something crunchy. So that could be some crackers, or that could be some Cheez-Its. Baked snacks are better. So if you can, try to do baked snacks rather than like a fried chips or something like that. Other things the kids like is the pirate booties, the little corn puffs with a little bit of cheese on them. Kids really like them as well. Then next is a lot of water. So I saw today during one of my visits a 4-year-old. A 4-year-old should be drinking about 5 cups of water a day. Cups are pretty small, but it's often hard for parents to keep up with that. So I do recommend, there are a lot of online resources, Kids Health, and other places where you can find how much water your child should be drinking, and just get a big bottle that's kind of that is that amount. So the parents may have like a 16-ounce bottle. That is the amount of water that your child should finish in a day. It's easier to just have one big bottle that your child's going to finish rather than just trying to do little bottles. No one remembers it. Parents don't remember it. You're not going to remember it for your kids. Get one big water bottle. If you want to, you can keep pouring that into a small cup, but that's one easy way to remember how much your child should drink. So kidshealth.org has some really good resources. Next, I wanted to talk a little bit about sleep. This is one of the fundamentals of healthy kids, and everyone's sleep cycles these days are completely off because of COVID. That is one of the number one things I'm seeing in the community is sleep problems in kids and in parents. So the average child needs about 10 hours of sleep. That's going to bed at 8 and, sleeping in until about 6 or so. And most kids are going to bed like 10:30-ish, I'm hearing in the community. And even in our household, we are pretty strict about sleep, but we realize because our oldest Azola just wasn't running around and playing with all of his friends as much, he's just not as sleepy. So bedtime has shifted, but we keep things quiet. So those are the main things that I wanted to talk about with regards to children's health. I know Dr. Curtis will talk a little bit more about mental health, but always take it back to the basics. What does it take to keep your body healthy and safe? The foundations are definitely activity and play. Make sure kids are playing, make sure they are active and having fun. Buy some board games, spend some time outside. Even when it gets cold, wrap them up, take them outside, number one. Number two, good food and good drinks. Again, we are seeing a rise in obesity. America was already at epidemic levels of obesity in children before the pandemic, and it has become even worse during the pandemic. So keep things to a good schedule. Up in the morning, have a good healthy breakfast that involves something fresh. Snack 10:30-ish, lunch, afternoon snack, dinner. That's it. Once you do dinner, you brush your teeth. That is it. Nothing else, just water after they go to bed. We don't have a whole lot of babies in the community, so I won't speak too much about that. And then finally, make sure that your child is getting good rest, getting good sleep, because it is important for all health, all of our health as well. So that is kind of it for me, just talking about the basics of kids' health. It starts with us as parents. I know folks are going through it. I know Dr. Curtis is going to speak a little bit about a lot about mental health, but parents are really going through it. Grandparents are going through it. If you know anybody with kids, send them some food. Go, you can't really be there in person, but send them some food so they don't have to do dinner for the evening. And that's kind of it. I look forward to any questions folks may have.
Hey, Jalan, how old is your oldest daughter or oldest child?
So we have 3 kiddos. The baby who's right here is 9 months. Then we have Kamal, who is 2.5 turning 3, and Azola is 9. His bedtime used to be a strict 8:30, and y'all, he's in his room by 8:30 and being quiet, but usually like 10:30-ish is when we, like 10 o'clock, we're like lights off, you have to be in the bed. But like sometimes he's still awake like into 11 o'clock at night with the lights off, just in there talking to us in the house. So it's rough.
Well, as one with a 16-year-old, cherish those times when your child talks to you. Because my daughter does not.
She'll get back to it. It's the circle of life. She'll get back to it.
All right, I hope so. And does your 9-year-old, does she have a cell phone, or is she internet connected?
No, so Azola's a boy, and we do not play with screen. So, okay, let me take that back. So school is virtual. So he has his own laptop now, which was hard for us, but he really needed it. And he has his own email and he can check those things. One of his best friends, their parents are on here. They're in the same class at Ann Beers. But we do not allow a cell phone yet, but he asks pretty much every 6 months, every 3 to 6 months, he asks for one. I don't know what we'll do when school starts back, but for now we've been able to kind of just say, oh, just go use your laptop. But I see folks in the community with kids as young as 6 and 7 with cell phones. I think as long as parents monitor it, which is key, and just to be also careful with how much time they're looking at a screen. We are seeing, I didn't mention it, but we are definitely seeing more nearsightedness in the community, more headaches and migraines amongst kids because of all the screen time that they have. So if they're on Zoom all day or whatever, they're using, if they're on that all day, I would really do your best to try to limit the time that they're looking at their screens. But I also know that that's very hard because parents are managing so much, and sometimes it's like, go downstairs.
Yeah, I have the cell phone and the internet on automatic cutoff at around, I think like it's late. I don't know what the time it is, but it's late. But
at least you have that. That's good.
Yeah, because if I didn't, she would be up to like about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning easily.
Yeah. And monitor it, and definitely, check the history, make sure you block things that kids shouldn't have access to, and check it regularly, because kids are very, very, very good at evading monitoring.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Thank you, Jalan.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Cicely.
So next we'll have Dr. Charles Curtis from our community.
Good evening, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to get with you all and to be here and to be together. I'm a clinical psychologist and a school psychologist for those who do not know. So my offering tonight is primarily around mental health. Mental health comes with a whole lot of stigma in our community, but very clearly what I mean by mental health is simply how we feel, like how we're feeling, how we're thinking about things, but also how we're experiencing things. So it's a pandemic outside. Part of what we've all got to remind ourselves of, in potentially perpetuity, is that things aren't normal anymore, but things are normal and they're not being normal. That's real shrinky talk, but in short, what I mean is we really have to create a new normal. I work in school, so we hear that a lot. That's language that we say a lot. I'm not so sure how that works in some of our other, day-to-day lives, our professional spaces, but the new normal is real. Unfortunately, no one really knows what that will look like a month from now, 2 months from now, 5 months from now, a year from now. My partners and I at work kind of bet, I don't think we'll be back in school, for example, next school year. Maybe we will, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but I don't think so. But it's that sort of unassuredness that all of us are dealing with. So this is where, when we think about our mental health, we've got to consider that nobody's really, short of someone who's really experienced like maybe the Spanish flu, right? Like that was probably the last real live pandemic like this. Nobody's experienced this before. This is all brand new. Everybody's navigating it together with different levels of fidelity. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. When my wife and I and our family travel to Richmond, when you get out at the gas stations, it's a different animal. Like folks aren't wearing masks. It's very interesting to see what life is like outside of the district. I would say that our fidelity to, normative personal protection is pretty evident here. You get outside of here, I don't know, it's hit or miss. But I said that to say we're navigating a reality that is new for everyone, and we've also got to make accommodations for what's happening outside of our control. So some of what I would offer to us in terms of what we can control are really creating routines that help us to feel stable. A lot of times folks reject routines, but hear me when I share this. Naming and holding true to routines is a real protective move in life and times when assuredness is kind of hard to come by. So I know when I get up, I know what I'll eat. I know what music will be playing. I know what doors will be open, what windows will be open, what slippers I'm putting on. I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. And for that matter, everybody in my house can do the same. And the benefit of that level of routine is we've all got something to hold. We aren't just left in the wind waiting for what the news cycle will bring or what the school system will bring or, what the riots will bring at the Capitol, right? Like we are actively controlling our environment. And I would offer not just controlling with it, but actually trying to harmonize with it. And that's where what Dr. Burton was talking about. If we step outside, enjoy the sun when the sun is out. My daughter and I were outside today with bubbles because she likes them, because her mom was very clear, hey, it's sunny, y'all got to go do that. But that level of routine is important to hold because it keeps us all stable. Stability is key here. Stability in times when it's not going to happen for us. We've kind of had it created and programmed for us, in perpetuity. You go to your job from 9 to 5. Now we're sitting still from 9 to 5. So also being gracious. So having routines, but being gracious and being gracious to other people, but also to yourself. And that, I mean, if you wake up today and you don't have it and you don't feel like it and you happen to have some time in your leave slip, put that time in and take the day. Right? Like that is really important stuff. Some of it might feel like vanity. Some of it might feel indulgent. Okay. Those are the times now though. And again, if you've got it, take it. And if you don't have it, try to curate it best you can. So I'm sitting at a desk. If I had to sit at this desk all day, every day, I would buy, do y'all know those furry bathroom rugs that folks used to have? Used to put one over your toilet, used to put one on the floor. It was probably like this deep, like real heavy. I would put one of those on the ground so my feet could sit in it. I got to sit here all day. Let me make it extra comfortable. Buy one of those really nice gaming chairs if you can. Set your room up. And I'm talking about buying a lot of things. Let's not buy anything. Let's just set our space up. Let's clean the clutter. Put things where you like them, but make your space that you are going to be in as attractive and comfortable as possible. Some of that fits with this idea of routine, but it gets down to let me harmonize with my environment, because these walls, like this is me, right? Like this is where I'm safe. I'm not going out so much. I kind of feel hesitant to go to the grocery store these days. So if I'm not doing that, I'm going to be in here. Let me at least make it feel good while I'm here. So I would really encourage folks to be intentional about routine, be intentional about being good to yourself. If you've got time, take it, but also be intentional about making yourself as comfortable as possible. And those are really like the three biggest I would offer to us, but I'm certainly open to responding to any like more targeted specific questions that folks might have.
Charles, I just had a quick question. I've had a lot of my friends that are doing the work from home, the virtual schooling, the relationships 24/7. And so we're having larger conversations about mental health and what that looks like, and some stigma associated with it. But we do have some more freedom around that because this is, collective trauma. What are some of the warning signs that you should be reaching out for professional help?
I would say maybe the biggest is you don't want to do stuff you used to want to do. I used to enjoy playing the game. I used to enjoy watching this show. I used to enjoy eating this food. I used to enjoy sitting outside on my deck. I used to enjoy talking to my partner. And I don't want to do any of that anymore. I'm good on all of it. I'm tired of it. That little boy, I hate this house. Or was that a little girl? I forget. But like when you have that feeling, you should reach out to someone. Here's the other thing. Reaching out is so much easier now, Cicely, to your point, where everybody's at home. I have a private practice, and I would say I'm probably busier now, maybe than I've ever been. And a lot of it is because we are all dealing with stuff, but also I can access you really easy. So if there was an obstacle, my private practice is physically in Bethesda. I don't feel like driving out to Bethesda. I live in Southside. You don't have to now. I send you the Zoom link and that's that. So I would offer that some of the real hallmarks that I need some help are when I'm not enjoying anything, but also like when I'm on edge. If I'm getting after my partner more than I used to, or if I'm yelling at the TV, if I'm screaming at drivers more than I used to, if I feel like my feelings in a way that's hot, I would say hot feelings more than, like I can remember the last time I had hot feelings and it was yesterday, or if it was the day before. Keep track of that. Because if you're having hot feelings multiple times a day or even multiple times a week, you probably need a pause, mainly because where are they gonna go? It's the winter time. You can't just go burn it off like you would before. Maybe you can, but the truth is, are you? Right? I remember the spring when COVID came, everybody was on Pennsylvania Avenue running. I don't see as many people running outside anymore. Mm-hmm. So them people inside, and those feelings are inside. And if you don't like hold some intentionality around that, I would say that can like start to burn you up. I'm sticking with a hot metaphor, but I really mean it, right? Like anger, frustration, annoyance. Sometimes that smoke isn't even for the person you're giving it to. It's really just circumstantial. It's really about all this aggregated stuff coming to a head. So definitely too many hot feelings, not being able to enjoy things that you used to be able to enjoy. And also, quite frankly, we don't have sex anymore. We don't talk to each other anymore. Those are things to certainly have a conversation about in your house, but that might also be me, right? Like maybe I need to go ahead and talk to someone, and maybe talking to someone is important, useful, a good thing, not something to like say, oh, I've got to acquiesce to this idea that someone else will fix my feelings, because you'll find out as soon as you start therapy. Therapist ain't gonna fix your feelings. Therapist gonna help you fix your feelings, but a therapist isn't gonna do it. So all that to say, like I would say those are the real big take homes. Can't enjoy things, yelling at people, certainly like loss of intimacy, and just a lot of heat or sadness. We shouldn't be sad for weeks on end, right? Like being sad for a couple of days, totally reasonable. Being sad at certain times of the week, certain times of the year, totally reasonable. If I can't tell you the last time I wasn't sad, I should call somebody.
Great, thank you so much, Charles. Last on our panel is Dr. Lisa Fitzpatrick.
You're on mute, Lisa.
Good evening, everybody. It's nice to be here. And wow, where do I start? So I'm an infectious disease doctor. I want to thank Paul for inviting me to come. I'm sure he's on here somewhere. I'm not quite seeing him yet, but oh, there you are. So I'm listening to the conversation and thinking, it has indeed been an interesting time, definitely for the physical and mental impact this is having on everybody. But from my perspective, as someone who is trying to address misinformation about coronavirus, COVID-19, the vaccine, it's been interesting to see and hear the challenges and frustrations people have with the information and the lack of communication that's coming out about the pandemic in general. So I'm an infectious disease doc. My practice has been at United Medical Center, but I've been on hiatus and I start again in February. But what I've really been focused on is content creation to help improve community health literacy, or helping people understand health information. So what I'd love to offer tonight is just an opportunity for you to ask any questions you have related to the pandemic or COVID-19. But before I do that, I just wanted to let you all know I'm actually a participant in the Moderna trial. So if you have questions about that, in fact, today was the day they unblinded me in the trial. So I learned I actually got the vaccine. And I had, it wasn't a surprise to me because my first shot was in September and I had symptoms. I had body aches. I had a sore arm. My arm was so sore, I couldn't lift it. But that only lasted for 8 to 10 hours. And after that, I felt a little tired and then I felt normal again. And I haven't had any issues since. So I used that as an opportunity to help allay people's fears about the vaccine. I also try and talk to people about the clinical trial process to help people understand that even though this process went very quickly this time, it's still foundationally the same process we use when we are studying medications or treatments. So I don't want to talk a long time because I could talk way too long. So I just wanted to be here as a resource to see if you have any questions, since we don't have a lot of time together.
Yes, this is Rosemary.
Hi.
I had a question about where do you stand on this, taking the first shot and letting everybody have a first shot, or taking 1 and 2 shots as was originally planned? What do you think is the best way for the country to go? And if we have an opportunity to get a first shot, should we go ahead and do that, or should we make sure that we can get both shots?
My preference is to follow the science that was studied in the research trials. So the research studied the impact of 2 shots. However, if the researchers and the data scientists, the people who actually reviewed the results of the trial data from the Pfizer and the Moderna trial, if they can tell us that the protection we got from the first dose extended into the second dose and beyond, then I would feel comfortable with that. But I don't know if they know that information or if they've looked at it. I haven't heard people talking about that. But the reason I think they might have the information is because when you go for your first and second shot, they take a lot of blood from you. And one of the things they're looking for is antibody titers. They're looking to see if you've had a response to the vaccine and how strong the response was. So if you imagine they tested that at the first dose, and then they tested it again at the second dose a month later, those titers could give them a lot of information. The titers would either be the same or lower, or I had a set of blood drawn today with another set of titers. And so once they look at those 3 results, it might give them information about whether or not the second dose was even necessary or how necessary it was. So without knowing that information, I don't feel comfortable with that strategy of 1 dose. However, the government bought 100 million doses. And the question is, why are we so bad at the logistics of getting these vaccines out into communities and to people? I mean, there are people who are expert in this, so I don't really understand why there have been so many challenges with the communication and just the access and ensuring that it's getting to the people who are in those first 2 priority categories. So I'm not supportive, not yet, until I hear more data.
Dr. Fitzpatrick, there's a question in the chat. The question is, I've read that 1 vaccine speeds up the heart rate. Does this occur frequently?
The challenge with side effects in these studies, and in any study, whether it's for a diabetes medicine or a high blood pressure medicine, the challenge is we need people enrolled in these studies who have diverse backgrounds and a range of clinical issues. So you might have someone who's very healthy and then someone who's not quite so healthy. In these studies, we had people who have multiple health conditions, diabetes, heart disease, and some people had 2 or 3 different health conditions. So all that to say, it's hard to know what's the person's baseline and what's attributable to the injection. And if you watch television and you see these drug commercials come on, at the end of the commercial, there's a long list of all the possible side effects you could look for. It's not necessarily that drug caused all of those things during the research, but those things may have come up, but they couldn't say definitively if those side effects were attributable to the medication. So think about that for this vaccine. Do you remember the case of spinal neuritis? I think it was in the UK. Someone had a temporary paralysis or something who was in one of the trials, and it turned out not to be related to the vaccine at all. So even though people in the trials may have side effects, they will list all the side effects that arose for that person. If they can't say definitively it wasn't related to the vaccine, it goes on the list. So if someone experienced that issue with the heart rate and they couldn't account for it otherwise, it would go on the list, but that doesn't mean it absolutely came from the vaccine.
I see we have another question from Sydney and Elson Nash.
Hey, Dr. Fitzpatrick, this is Elson.
Oh, hey, how are you?
As you know me as Bernie. Just so glad that you could make it. One of the questions that I have is how can we use the network of the neighborhood association to get the information out? We have some seniors who are not connected to the internet, who may not know about their opportunity to get vaccinated, and we need to dispel some myths. And so how can we use our network of the neighborhood association to get information out?
Well, it looks like you all have at least 30 people on this call. So I'm a huge fan of feet on the street. And you all have a pretty tight-knit neighborhood. So I would, you've probably heard of phone chains, or if there's an emergency and the circuits go out, then, you know, someone calls the next person on the list, and then that person calls the next person. I think you probably have to go a bit old school with this response.
Yeah.
And really get into the community and start connecting with your neighbors. One of the disappointments for me during the pandemic is we have not done a good job addressing this problem for seniors in particular, ensuring they have groceries, ensuring someone is consistently checking on them. And we still have a lot of work to do to create these sort of networks and also build trust with the seniors so that they will open the door if we show up, or they will answer the phone if we call. But I think you all have a situation in which you know a lot of your neighbors, or you can create those networks because you already have some trust built. So I would say knock on the doors, get on the phones and find out who needs help. You have churches in your neighborhood. Maybe there's some collaborations there you could leverage. But I think otherwise we're not going to get to them. I also think if there's a local paper, or if you all have a newsletter that goes to everyone's home, you could certainly put it there. But I think between, unless you have a budget for TV commercials, or maybe there's someone in your group who works with DCTV, because I know a lot of seniors are watching public television as well. So that's an opportunity. So yeah, I think we just have to get creative about how to reach the seniors and make sure they trust us enough to accept our help.
All right, thank you.
So we just have time for, oh, go ahead.
There's a question from Dr. Burton.
Hi, Dr. Burton, how are you?
Hello, hi, Dr. Lisa, how are you? So I just wanted to say that there has been some robust communication going on some of the Facebook groups for the community, and through the conversations on one of the Facebook groups that's very active, the Ladies Auxiliary of Hillcrest. I learned that the Safeway, that multiple Safeways have the COVID vaccine. And so my father actually went and stood in line on Friday. He stood in line for 2 hours and didn't get it. He was number 6 in line, and no, he was number 8 in line, and they only had 6 doses. But the pharmacist said to come back on Saturday morning. So he went on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. He said that there was one line for people who had already had appointments, and then there was a line for people who didn't have appointments. And he actually got his first COVID vaccine. So just so y'all know, the Moderna vaccine in particular has to be disposed of within, well, Dr. Fitzpatrick, tell me if this is true. They said it has to be
true. Yeah, they can't refreeze it. Absolutely.
Within 6 hours. And so whatever doses the pharmacy has, they will just administer them to whoever's there. So y'all, you should really maybe on Friday call the Safeways in the area, especially those east of the river and in Southeast, and just see if they are still having people just come and line up. So my dad did get his COVID vaccine, even though he wasn't going to get it for a few weeks if he had gone through his doctor. So just so you know, if folks need assistance with that, maybe the neighborhood can help with getting people there to Safeway. I don't know.
I have heard about those sort of underground communication networks that are transmitting this information too. I mean, it can be a very powerful a powerful way to convey information. In fact, that's why my company is called Grapevine Health. So it's a great example.
Absolutely. We'll take the last question from Kyle Murphy.
And I have a question as well.
Who is that on the phone? Is that
Reed.
Ms. Reeves?
Tony Reed.
Okay, so we'll take the last question from you then. So Kyle and then Ms. Reeves.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Fitzpatrick, for this, and to Dr. Burton and Dr. Curtis has been fantastic. On COVID, if I'm not mistaken, what we've been hearing is that once people get the vaccine, they still might be able to transmit the virus. Can you explain why that would be the case and when you expect that we will know more about whether that's true or not?
Yeah, so I get this question a lot, and it's a little disappointing to me that we've done such a lousy job communicating this information. So they're really two separate things. The vaccine is primarily for prevention. So if you come in contact with coronavirus and you've had the vaccine, you should not get sick, or if you do, you won't get critically ill or you won't be that sick. However, you can be someone who's protected, but come in contact or inhale something, have coronavirus in your airway. And then if you don't have on a mask and you're breathing next to someone, or you sneeze on a device or on your hand, it's the same ways we are seeing coronavirus transmitted. You could potentially still transmit it. I think the nuance is we still don't have enough information about when a person is most infectious. So even though we know that people can be asymptomatic or have no symptoms and transmit coronavirus, the question is, if you are showing symptoms, is that when you have the most virus floating around? And because we don't know that, it would be really hard to answer this question. So, but my expectation around the vaccine is not that you can't transmit the virus at all, is that the virus protects you from getting sick. So that's why we tell people you still have to wear a mask even if you get the vaccine, because you just think about how it's being transmitted. So continuing to do all the things we're all sick and tired of, wearing a mask, social distancing, keeping your hands clean, it's a challenge. But I think we can't expect that transmission will completely stop when people are vaccinated. Once we have enough people vaccinated or enough people who've had coronavirus, transmission will stop because the virus won't have enough people to infect. That's the whole reason we're trying to get to herd immunity. So the virus can't run rampant through the population. So it goes looking for susceptible people and won't be able to find them.
And the last question is from Ms. Reeves.
Yes, hi. Yes, I have two questions. One question is for the panel, when they approved this virus and there were some people who opposed the virus, do you know what the reason some of those individuals opposed the virus? The vaccine. And the other question is the speed that this vaccine was generated. They are saying that the question is in terms of HIV has been researched for years and years. So how were they able to kind of pinpoint the vaccine for the coronavirus and the delay with the HIV vaccine?
Mm-hmm. So I could spend 30 minutes answering your last question, but I will give you the Cliff Notes version. But I had a follow-up question first. You said people were opposing the vaccine. Are you talking about scientists or the public?
The whoever approved the vaccine, I guess is the science, the panels, whoever approved the vaccine, there were some people, I think they said there was three individuals who opposed the vaccine, but I have not, what is the reason that they opposed the vaccine from being for being administered, or approved? I guess, so I guess it's the scientists who opposed the vaccine.
She's
actually, I don't know the
members
answer
of
to
the
that, but it's
ACIP.
easy for me. It's easy for me to find out, so I'll send the information to Stan once I get it to transmit back to you. With respect to the speed though, in short, so first of all, I think the politicization of this vaccine and the whole process, the name warp speed, very problematic, because I think it helped to sow distrust from the very beginning. But there are several reasons the process was truncated, or it was a lot faster. Number one, we're in a global pandemic. People were doing whatever possible to remove barriers. There are a lot, if you do research studies and you try to get things approved through the FDA, that alone can take almost a year just to even get them to read your proposal. Whereas in this case, it went to the front of the line because people are dying. We have to figure out a solution. So that cut off a lot of time. Also, when you have clinical trials or research studies, you have to wait for people to enroll in the trials. And so the trials will be ongoing until you get enough people. So let's say your study needs 3,000 people, you have to wait. And sometimes that can take a year or so to just get enough people to be in the study. These studies were oversubscribed right away. In fact, they were going so fast, the Moderna trial anyway had to stop so that they could increase diversity of enrollment. So those are two very good reasons to chop off time. But I would say the most important reason it went fast is because usually when we create vaccines, the vaccines are developed from creating some sort of replica of the vaccine. That's not how this one was created. This vaccine is all based on genetic material. And the reason we knew the genetic code of this vaccine was because the Chinese sequenced it way back in January, and they published it so that labs all over the world could work with it and try to figure out how to use it to create a vaccine. So the technology they're using, this messenger RNA, which is actually just has a temporary function to introduce your body to recognize the spike protein, which is the part of the coronavirus that's responsible for infection and sickness. So it's a very elegant mechanism. So it's showing the body and giving instructions to the body to say, when you see this, you need to respond. So it's telling it how to recognize the spike protein. And so it sounds a little bit sci-fi, but the truth is they've been working on messenger RNA as a technology to cure diseases and create medications for health conditions for over 10 years. And you can Google this and see messenger RNA has been around for a long time. They've tried it in vaccines before and it's never worked before. Well, this time it worked. So what we're looking at is a medical advancement. But because it's been shrouded in so much skepticism, politics, distrust, people actually are not recognizing it for what it is, which is a medical advancement. So I think we will see a lot more treatments and vaccines using the messenger RNA approach. So I think we should be applauding this.
That's all our time for questions.
I hope I answered your question though.
Yes, yeah, that does help. It does help. It does help.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I have to say though, you know, before we started talking about how fast this research study was going, did anybody even know how long it takes to do a research study?
10 years or more.
And based on what?
I mean, like Alzheimer's. I mean, I think, you know, they've been doing studies for like, you know, trying to figure out what's going on with Alzheimer's. They've been trying to do studies for, again, HIV. They've been, you know, all these. So I think we all should be aware that studies take a long time.
It depends though. So for instance, they make a brand new flu vaccine every year. It's always different. So I just want, you know, people to feel some measure of comfort that the science was was used, the science we are accustomed to seeing in research
Yes,
trials,
yes,
the whole
yes.
phases
Yes,
was incorporated. So,
yes. Yes.
Okay. Hey, thank you. That was, yeah, very enlightening. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that.
okay.
For all three panelists, actually.
You all have a good night, and I'll find the answer about the 3 people who disapproved, and I'll send it to you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Learn lots of new stuff, including the fact that Elson goes by the name of Bernie. I did not know that. All right. Hey, next up we have Paul, and he's going to go over the our new logos. Paul, how you doing?
Good evening, neighbors. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Before I get started, I think I'll need to have some form of being the host so that I can share a screen. Since we voted last fall to change our name, we're no longer Penn Branch Citizens Civic Association. We're now the Penn Branch Community Association. We thought it was the appropriate time to go forward and actually change and update the logo. So this is a refresh of the existing logo. We have a couple of iterations that I'd like to share. And I believe the president from that point will facilitate some sort of, we'll ask you which you would like to represent your association.
Sure. Sounds great. Sounds great. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So let's see from here.
Paul, you should have co-hosting abilities now.
Okay, I do, and I am now sharing. So, okay, here you see at the top of the screen, or you should see the current Penn Branch logo, which has the Citizens Civic Association. And then below are the 3 revisions. Hopefully you all can see that, where it now says Penn Branch Community Association. And so we're still sticking with the theme of the green and the tree, and just sort of updating it with a street sign to sort of represent Pennsylvania Avenue and Branch Avenue. So,
hey, Paul, can you talk about the circles? Like some have circles, some don't have circles. Can you give us
just a design, just for style. Actually, the circle may look good the way, depending on where it's printed. It may work best on a T-shirt or say a coffee mug, and then maybe without may work better on a letterhead. So you would have options, but you could choose to use any combinations of the logo. You could say, I like 2 of them.
Which one you like?
Yeah, go tilt the scales. Tilt the scales, Paul. Which one do you like?
You know, I like them all. I defer to the community's decision.
Well, I did notice that on the first draft newsletter that you had the first logo, the one on the far left on that newsletter.
Yes, and that's the one I like because it's open and airy, and I can imagine a bird landing on the tree.
Oh, bird landing on the tree. That's so artistic. Yeah. Didn't know you had that in there, Miss Paul.
Give you 2 of these.
All right. So I guess could we have a show of hands for logo number 1, the far left without the circle? Yeah, let me work this out real quick. Tia, can you see anything? Tia, does that do anything for you?
People are still voting. So we have a total of 5 in favor.
5.
Now it's 4.
All right.
Now it's 5 again.
Okay.
Cool. 5 it is. Okay, let's go for logo number 2, the one in the middle. Place your votes.
All right, we got it.
I see 1 hand so far.
I saw 3. I saw, I'm not naming names.
Paul, you said you saw 3?
I did.
Are you looking on the screen or at the participants?
list?
I saw 3 hands pop up on the screen.
Okay, so
I
I
mean,
guess we need to give people more instruction on how to vote.
great. Maybe we should do that one again. Let's if those who if you don't mind, we should go to our parliamentarian can track your responses. So all in favor of the second logo?
Let's do it this way. All in favor of the, can we go back to the first?
Yes.
So all in favor of the first logo, please use the raise your hand feature. And if you do not, if you're on the phone, just affirm that that's the one you want to vote for. Okay, so I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 participants voted in the participants feature. Is there anyone on the phone? Okay, so 6 for the first one.
I heard Miss Paul earlier say she liked that one. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, you all can lower your hand.
Okay. So now we're looking at the second one.
1 second. Ms. Holt, can you lower your hand? Can you lower your hand?
Yeah, well, how do you do that? I'm trying to figure it out. Let me
Okay,
see.
I'll do it for you.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Zoom challenged.
That's okay.
Me too.
If
You can call me Kim.
Okay. If you're voting for the second logo, please either raise your hand, or if you're on the phone, affirm that that's the one you want to vote for. So I see 1 person for this one.
That's the second one here.
Okay, I'm going to lower that hand. Is there anyone on the phone voting for the second one? Let's move to the third logo. Has everyone voted?
So this
I
one-
see 5 hands for the third one. Is there anyone on the phone who is voting for the third logo? So 5 for that logo.
So we have a tie, is that right?
I thought there were 6 for the first one.
I hope so.
Yeah, it was 6.
All right, cool, great.
The
Glad-
3 for the birds.
Cool. So the first one is the, can we announce that?
I believe it is the first one.
Yes.
I'll let the
Well
parliamentarian.
done, well done.
All right. Well,
So the first logo has been selected.
All right, cool. Thank you all. That went as smooth as I thought it was going to go. Yeah, but I'm glad we got that done. All right, sweet. Great. Okay. Hey, I noticed that Letitia Atkins from Pennsylvania Avenue East director, she's on the line. And I'm wondering if she has a few words to say. And if you were saying them, Letitia, yeah, we can't hear you. All right, so.
Sorry about that. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Trying to get the screen up. So good evening, everyone, and happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
I'm gonna try to get my camera up here also. So yes, thank you so much, Stan, for allowing me an opportunity just to say a few brief words. And it's timely that you all had as your guest speaker a few doctors to discuss the COVID and its impact on us as a community, us as a nation, us as a as fellow citizens. And just as COVID has impacted many of our neighbors here in the District of Columbia, the impact has been similar to has been a similar impact to some of our businesses, especially those east of the river. So what we have been doing, or what I've been doing over the past month since I last visited you, was ensuring that our businesses are able to get connected to the many resources that the District of Columbia has. There's a number of grant opportunities that are available to our businesses. So we have been assisting businesses along the corridor with technical assistance, helping them with getting their documents in place to apply for some of that funding, and even helping them to write some of the grants if necessary. So again, we want to ensure that not only our community is healthy and thriving, but our businesses, which are part of the pulse of the community, are also healthy and thriving and able to survive during this challenging time. So a few of the businesses that we have been working with, many of you probably are aware, Earl Howard Studio, which I just spoke to today, they are applying for the Great Streets Bridge Fund grant, which will allow them to have some funding in excess of $50,000 if approved. Some of our businesses in the Penn Branch Shopping Center, as well as some of our businesses on the lower node of Pennsylvania Avenue, such as Mimi's Ethiopian Barbecue. So we've been, it's been a challenge in some cases just to make sure that our businesses have the necessary paperwork in place, but we are working around the clock to make sure that they are prepared and don't miss these opportunities, because we want them to be here after COVID-19 and to survive, again, this challenging time. So you may see me around in the next few weeks. I'll be doing door-to-door business health checks with all of our businesses to see where their greatest needs are, as well as what we're working with a organization, John Stover and Associates, on conducting a market analysis of Pennsylvania Avenue, so that we know somewhat the market analysis will be similar to a SWOT. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses on the corridor? Where are opportunities for growth, and where are threats to those growth? So at some point, we'd love to come back and maybe share that resource with you, because that will then help to position us to advocate for some of the things that we need, not just down at City Hall, but with a lot of the funders also that are providing these resources into the communities. So with that being said, if you know of a business that you support, that you frequent, that may need some assistance, that may not know who we are, or some folks don't even, we're trying to also build those relationships. Please, I encourage you to ensure that they are connected with me, and let them know that we are here to be a resource to them.
Right.
Thank you so much, and look forward to continuing. Look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Hey, the time is now 8:30. Before we call this an end, are there any questions, statements, or new business? Hopefully not new business. New business. Anybody want to mention? No. Yeah, I did see Laura. I saw your question in the chat asking if we have any fundraisers planned. I said, no, no, we do. It's tough. I can't hear you, Richards, Miss Richards. You're on mute. But it's tough. We're trying to. If you have a plan, you have an idea, please do share. We're looking for ideas. All right, cool. Well, with that, any other questions, statements, comments? Okay, and then with that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Right.
Is there a second?
All right. Well, with that, I'll say thank you. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stan. It was really great.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Right on time.
Let's see.
Thank you, Tia, for bringing Chuck into here. Chuck, and I saw the article also on the
on the DCS.
Yeah, and I love his shirt. Chuck's old school,
Yeah.
At the time. Cool.
Good meeting, Stan. Good job. Yeah, good work, Tia. I think everything went pretty smoothly.
Yeah. But that hand thing, that's exactly how I pictured in my head going down. But we got it done though. We got it done. So it was cool.
Yeah, I think in the future we'll just create a Zoom poll ahead of time. I was actually just emailing you all about that.
Yeah. And also, it wasn't really official because we didn't get just members, paid members. But, this is a logo. It's no harm done.
Right. I thought it went well.
Thanks, Ms. Richards, for giving me your last name. I'll know for next time.
All right. You'll see Fitzpatrick walk in the neighborhood all the time with a small little, small black dog, I believe, and a cat.
Oh.
And a cat walking behind. It's kind of funny, kind of cute to see.
Then I'll definitely see her. Well, have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Take care.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Stay safe.
Come on, Kyra.